I loved everything you just mentioned so far because, so for me, as you're talking about this, how I can relate is I believe my daughter is my best teacher. And the reason why I say that is because you're talking about expectation, right? So it's how we expect to raise our kids. Right now, what I see in this entire big culture shift, the kids are become, I don't want to put label or like blame or shame. I'm just looking at simply at patterns, right? I see we're starting to raise a generation of weak kids. And when I say that is because there's statistics came out recently that one in every five college grads bring their parents to a job interview. This is so absurd. One out of every five college grads brings their mom and or dad to a job interview. That's just absurd to me. You and I remember with the time like you're a business owner, but I don't know if you have had a job before, but I remember having to, learn how to put on a tie a tie, put on a suit, right, comb my hair, print out my resume, and go there myself. Have no idea like how to interview. It's kind of like
Right.
trial by fire, right? So
Yeah.
and it's this idea like we're trying to we gone to the generation of way over protecting our kids. And tying this back to why I'm saying my daughter's my greatest teacher is I remember the moment she was born, and I was like, wow, this fragile kid. I'm doing everything I can do to love her and protect her. Most importantly, protect her. The father bear, daddy bear. But the moment I cut her umbilical cord, she started crying and like she gave me a different vibe. It was like, Dad, I am meant to survive. Dad, I am strong. Dad raised me like a leader. And that's
Wow.
complete blew my mind. That was the energy that I got from her. So when she was growing up, when she was starting to walk, every time she falls down, I'm like, yay, you fell down, get up, right? We didn't say, oh, poor you,
Yeah.
try again. No. So the entire time, every time she fell, she never cried. Is
Yep.
because my expectations, exactly what you're talking about, right? So my expectation to her is you are a leader, you are strong enough. It doesn't mean there are times when you really, really hurt. I'm not going to hold you and comfort you. That's how I'm saying that. But it's an active balance, right? And this kind of ties into what one of Tony's famous quotes is: people's lives are a direct reflection of the expectation of their peer group. People's lives are a direct reflection of the expectation of their peer group. So what that means is if your peer group doesn't really expect you much, so your peer group obviously starts with your mom and dad, right? When you're kids, it doesn't matter of time before you lower your own expectation of yourself.
Absolutely. And I'm always talking about environment, 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 environment. My husband and I, before we were ever married, we picked to move before we were just dating. We picked to move up and move. And when we got engaged and the conversation started talking about what does that look like, and what is life, you start talking to your partner. I was like, well, we can never live in the small town that we were from. And it wasn't because of anything more than there wasn't a high enough opportunity for growth. And that just meant, not that there's anything wrong with a small town or even the town that I'm from. I love so many people where I'm from. But I knew that if I had, let's just say I had a little girl in the dance world, if she wanted to be a dance teacher, that I knew what all the businesses looked like. I knew what all the teachers looked like. I was like, this isn't enough. This environment isn't enough. I want more. And so your environment is huge. It's yeah, the peer group, your family, your circle, the people that you are listening to all the time, the voices that you hear, the words that are acceptable. That stuff shapes who you are. You can be doing all the work. I'm looking over at my bookshelf over here. You can be reading all the books in the world, but if you close one of these incredible books and then when you hang out with a bunch of, I'm just going to say, moms at a playground complaining about how their husband doesn't listen to them, everything you just listened, read is out the window because those voices are very strong. That energy is right here with you. And yeah, it's the same for our kids. If we're saying things to them like, oh no, are you okay? Yes, they're fine. You're putting doubt in them, right? You're good. Come on, let's go. And I'm not saying like you, Alan, and when I think sometimes when we speak, we have to be careful of how we word it so it doesn't sound like you're just like always hard on your kid. I mean, I love my kids. They know it's safe. But 9 times out of 10, you're fine. You got this. Yes, there's going to be scenarios where they need mom. Something is wrong. We're heavily bleeding, right? Okay. But for the most part, no, you're fine. It's okay. It's fine. And I'm not saying brush it off, and there's a whole bunch of conversation that could parents and moms that'll be very gentle will be like, well, that's not you disregarded their feelings. I'm not worried about their feelings. I believe in them. I trust them. I'm not saying I disregard them. I'm saying that there is a time and a place to feel your feelings and to allow a little bit of toughness to come through, because man, 1 in 5 college grads bring their parents to interviews. That's embarrassing to me. And I just
Oh, again, the stats gets worse. The stats gets worse. These 80% of hiring managers are saying that these kids are not ready because all they do is they're scrolling on their phone all day long. They're not working, and they get fired within a year.
And it's really that's so, I actually kind of feel like sick in my stomach, because I know adults who I know do that, and there's some elements in our homeschooling that I really focus on in regards to that kind of stuff, and it's like time management is one. And schools don't teach that. Schools don't teach time management. I never learned time management. I went to regular school all the way through community college when I was buying my business and everything. And I was never taught time management. Time management takes practice. I still practice it. When I look at my kids, and I have my 9-year-old, she's my middle right now, and it's like, okay, this is your planner. This is what you have to get through. And if I'm on a call, let's say I'm doing this podcast and I go out and she hasn't done it. Okay, so now it'll be an hour later or whatever. We have to leave at this time. We have this much time. How are you going to get it done? It's not like, okay, let me sit you down and let's do this together now because you didn't take action whenever you were supposed to take action. Like, we know what the day looks like. And this is all just part of the way it works in my house. And I don't expect anybody else to do life the way we do life. But for me, leadership, the whole conversation, what does leading with love look like? It looks like expectations that I know are going to make her better. They're not unrealistic. She's not in so much trouble. She doesn't get her work done. She knows that. But she will also understand that she didn't hit the mark, And so what has to happen? Well, something else has to come off the schedule later on so we can get it done. And that something else is definitely going to be the fun thing, right? We have to get our work done. And it's not a place of punishment. It's a place of leadership and growth and learning to do hard things and to prioritize and to schedule and not need mom.
I love it. 2 words that boils down is accountability.
Yeah.
And responsibility.
Yeah.
Actually, 3 words, and consequences, because if you don't do it, there's no fun.
Yeah, that's a good one. And consequences, for a lot of people can feel very negative, right? Oh, doom and gloom, consequence. But a consequence is just the natural reaction to what did or didn't happen. And so if you didn't do it, who's going to do it? I'm not like, if I don't want to do the dishes, that doesn't mean some little magic fairy is going to come in tonight and do the dishes when I go to bed. The consequence is I have to wake up in the morning and look at the dishes, like, oh, it's not fun, but so it doesn't have to be heavy and negative. It's just the reality of it.
100%. And recently I had this conversation with another parenting client was, what's the difference between consequences and punishment? Because oftentimes we link consequences and punishment. Okay, you don't do your homework, you're grounded. You don't do this, then no dinner, no dinner, and
right,
no Roblox, right? So those are consequences, but they're punishment form. Yeah. Whereas I think for me, I don't know how everybody else parents, and my suggestion is based on consequences, like the washing dishes part. Well, if we don't wash the dishes, then we attract cockroaches. Do we want cockroaches in our house? No. That's why we do this, right? So those are not punishment based. Those are not negative. These are, cause and effect. And
I was just going to say that, cause and effect. There we go. And I think when you can get it to as simple scientifically as possible, if you could turn it, and I'm not a math brain, but I feel like if you can turn anything into numbers or like a scientific method, it really lands a lot better with the kids. At least it does in my house. But when you say cause and effect, because also our children, if we're speaking from a parenting perspective, they're not going to do what we say. They're going to do what we do. So going back to leadership, right? So sometimes I can't do it for her, right? I can't be like, okay, well, you didn't do it. Let me go do it for you. That's definitely not happening. But if I allow the thing to play out and I let it happen and she can see, then she knows next time what that consequence is, what that reaction is, right? What that effect will have if she doesn't choose a different way. And it's ultimately also, again, out of respect. Like, she's a different person than me. My son is a very different person than me. My other daughter, very different, and they're all different from each other. So I think it's also really important, if you have multiple kids, to respect the personalities and not compare. And because sometimes I know there's this, like, well, in our house, if you don't do this, the rule is this, right? If you don't, for example, if you are on your phone past a certain hour, some people have a rule: you put your phone away or you put your device away, no electronics. And if they're on their electronics after that, then the rule is you lose the electronic for a month or whatever it is, right? That's fine. But if you have a child who was truly curious about something and got on something to look, right, to research something, and because there is innocence in this, and they're learning, how are you going to punish them, right? The consequence just can't always be the same.
That's going to be part of my book, right? So not all screen times are equal.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, because sometimes they're on Roblox. I totally get it, right? Or they're mindlessly scrolling through TikTok, or sometimes they're just curious. They're trying to learn.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Why don't we foster them into the creativity part, the learning part, the absorbing part, right, into the material versus this other part?
Yeah. And talking about screen time, I feel like that's a whole conversation there too, because a lot of leadership with that is, again, we're all controlled by that device in some way or form. And it's really, I think, important for parents. Really important for parents. For me, I think about this all the time. I can't say, hey, too much scrolling or too much this or too much that. This app is bad. It's ridiculous. It's not even using your brain. I can't do any of that if I'm also doing it. So it's, again, really important to lead yourself first, because, again, they don't do what we say, they do what we do. So if you find that your kids are mindlessly scrolling and they're sucking up all this stuff and they're not using their time wisely, well, are you setting a good example, and where are you dropping the ball?
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to segue really quick with our conversation, because we talked about expectation, we talked about accountability, and then oftentimes what I see with parenting is that, especially with moms, it's just the pattern I see, again, not coming from blame or shame, is the moment the kid starts crying, the mom's guilt kicks in. So can you tell us more about that? So why do you think that is, and how do we navigate around mom guilt?
That mom guilt is a real thing. That is a real thing. And I think there's probably dad guilt too. I can't attest to it, but I think the guilt comes from, again, the expectation though. What is, oh man, Allan, I love this, because I'm actually doing some deep thinking myself right now on this question. This is the exact question of mom guilt. So the word guilty, it's actually pulled up on my computer right now. The word guilty is defined as responsible for a specified wrongdoing. So justly chargeable is particular fault or error. So a specified wrongdoing, that's what guilt is. You're taking responsibility for a specified wrongdoing. So, if your kid is crying, let's say there was a punishment, right? And you follow through, and now the kid's crying and you're like, oh, I'm the worst mom ever now. Like, I pushed it too far. That, I think, is, I can even laugh because I'm like, that's ridiculous. That's just because that mom guilt is very different than another form of mom guilt, which is what I'm researching in my head over here and diving through and thinking through a lot of, because I work with women who want to do more. They put themselves last for so long, where they feel like they have no energy left to serve, and they're not playing with their kids. They're just like on autopilot. And that's the kind of stuff that I work with. And a lot of that's mom guilt. You feel really bad that now you have no energy, but yet you've given so much to everybody else. That's why you have no energy. You put yourself last. You haven't put any effort into yourself. So you put yourself there. You are responsible for this, and now you feel guilty. And so what is guilty? It's responsible for a specified wrongdoing. Well, what was the wrongdoing? So in this case, let's learn from the mistakes that we made so that we don't keep repeating them. Let's figure out the pattern and fix it, rewrite it. But even if it's a consequence thing and your kid's crying and because you followed through and now you feel guilty, ask yourself, what was the wrongdoing here? If I feel guilty That means I'm holding responsibility for wrongdoing. That's what that word means. So what is actually wrong? And if you think about that and you can answer that question and you can say, well, it's wrong that I did that, that punishment was harsh. Okay, here's what you could do then. If you really think that, go in and apologize, be a leader, show them what it looks like to screw up, and then own your mistake. That accountability we talked about a bit ago. That is such a beautiful teaching moment for self and for your child that I promise you as parents, most of us would have loved that as kids, for our parents to come in and be like, I'm so sorry. I actually way overreacted. I didn't think through this consequence. It is ridiculous that you're grounded for a month. That is not fair. You're right. Here's what I think would be a more acceptable, responsible thing to do based on the action it was or wasn't taken, right? And you have a conversation, or you ask the kid, hey, I know you're crying, and I all of a sudden feel guilty because I do feel like maybe this is a wrong situation. What do you think? Could you tell me why you're crying? Could we talk this through? Just listen, respect them. Don't think that, oh gosh, well, I'm mom and I know everything. You don't know everything. Your dad, you don't know everything, right? And I think that that's a big part of guilt, is understanding what that word means is huge. And mom guilt, I 100% have felt mom guilt. And I still do. There are days where I'm working really hard and I'm like, okay, I really poured into this kid, but man, I don't know if I really actually ever even listened to what that kid was saying all day today, because that one was being super independent and doing all their things, and it was great. And I was like, woohoo, check, focus over here. And then I'll still go to bed and I'm like, oh, I dropped the ball. Tomorrow, first thing in the morning, I'm going to focus on this kid and make an eye contact and asking them about something that they told me yesterday that I kind of half heard. And so we do it. That's normal. But that, I think, a lot of times can just be a beautiful reminder of where your energy is going. If you feel guilty, there's you're taking responsibility for something that's wrong. What is wrong? Fix it.
And as you're talking about this, I'm always looking for the root cause, right? There's a cause of the root cause. We can go on and talk about this forever. But at least the first thing I identify, it's a fallacy for us to think we have to know everything. That's a fallacy, right? Because going back to what you're talking about. And the second point, it's also a fallacy thinking that we have to be perfect. We have to be the perfect mom, we have to be perfect dad. I don't know how we are able to adopt that model, but the moment we do that, we fall into a fixed mindset, because there is no, we are human. We all make mistakes, right? So
yeah, we've never been in this position before.
Correct.
Ever.
Even though you don't have 3 kids, like you mentioned, this is your 4th kid, you're 40 years old. This is all still brand new for you.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a little bit of roadmap already with the 3 kids, but this is still brand new experience.
And and each kid is their own personality. And as they grow up, they need to become more of who they are, and they need to feel safe to do that. So, my 13-year-old is my oldest. He's never had 3 little sisters before. He's had 2, but he's never had 3. And he's never had a sister who acts this way when one does this, and he's never had a sister who wants. We're all new at this. I think it's just giving yourself so much grace that, yes, you think we're supposed to know everything. There's no such thing as perfect. It doesn't exist. That's why I say we dance through life. And I have a whole acronym for teaching dance, like DANCE, what that means and how I coach. It's all a dance. There's no perfection. It's all an art. You have to just cultivate what feels good to you.
No, you're good. This is actually great. So this is you're talking about the ebbs and flows of life, right? There is no perfection. The perfection is in the ebbs and flows, where the downs and the ups, right? And that's the way you really, really enjoy life. Because if you imagine like life is, everything's always happy. I promise you, if you're happy for the next 20 years, you're gonna get bored. You're gonna get so bored, right?
And you're gonna be repelling so many people from you. You're gonna be so lonely. Super happy people all the time are not gonna be magnetizing a lot of deep, beautiful relationships. They're gonna be repelling everybody away from them because that's not real.
As we were talking about this, it reminds me, I was in Fiji about like maybe 12 years ago. And the night I got there, we had a huge tropical storm coming in, right? Just rain, cats and dogs, thunders. And I don't know if the roof I'm staying as is going to hold up. Well, it did. The next morning I got up at like 4:30 in the morning. I looked up and it had this beautiful sunrise. Because you imagine the tropical storm coming in, you can see
Yeah.
layers and layers of clouds, different shade, different grades, like orange. And it's just so
Love it.
beautiful. And I took that picture and it was forever ingrained in my mind. This is what, the calm before the storm, and then the storm, there's a rainbow afterwards, all that metaphor, right? But here's
Yeah.
the kicker, Ashley. I try to take that same exact pictures 2 days later when there's no more storm. It was so boring. There was no clouds, everything. It's so beautiful, don't get me wrong, but it's so boring. There's no layers, there's no depth, there's no saturation. There's just no texture to it.
You just reminded me of a similar scenario. We took our kids to the beach last year, and when we got there, it was storm. Same thing. I was like, man, you go to the beach, right? You plan one beach trip with your kids the whole summer, and you're like, it rains, and you can look at it however. But the next day, we had the coolest things that had washed up. We wouldn't have found any of those shells and those things because the storm brought on the gift, the abundance of the extra layers in your picture, the extra treasures that we found. It's just, 100%.
Love it. So let's go and wrap up. What is the one message you want to share with all the parents out there?
Gosh, I thought about this. I thought about this a lot. And we've touched on so much today, Allan. I think we've really touched on so much, from comparison to expectations and respect and love and leadership and guilt and all of it. I think the message is just to enjoy your dance. Your specific thing that you have with your family is unreplicatable anywhere else. And it is such a gift that your children are the way that they are. When you said your daughter is your biggest teacher, your greatest teacher, I mean, yes, same. And if we can look at how much focus on what we have, not what we don't have, right? Where energy goes, or where focus flows, energy goes, another Tony Robbins thing. Just look for the good, because as a parent, there's so much good and so much love and so much excitement and so much adventure. When your kids are like 5 and under, it's exhausting. They need you 24/7, right? Somebody always needs something, but everything is new. Everything is so magical. Right? They see an ant and you're like, we gotta go. But they're like, look at this ant. And you're like, we gotta go. It's just slow down and look for the good. That's the message I want every parent to remember, because it's always there. It's always there. You got to pause. That's how we started the call, power of the pause. And I think that's where we have to end it.
100%. The magic is in the pause. The magic is in the pause. Because if we don't pause, I know all the parents know this, right? The moment we blink, the kid is 5 years old. The moment we blink again, the kid's already 10 years old. Now your kid's 13. You can still imagine when your son was first born. That's how I feel about my
Oh my gosh.
That was just yesterday.
I told my husband last night, because this little one could come any day now, and I have a 6-year-old. That's my baby. Is my 6-year-old now, and I was like holding her, we were snuggling all on the couch, and I was like, I don't know if she's ready. I don't know if she's ready, Dad. And he was like, she doesn't have a choice. And I was like, and I don't either, right? I don't know if I'm ready for her not to be the baby, right? But and very much so, I don't baby her, right? The expectations are there, but it is still that she's the last one that will, hey mom, you need anything? She's the baby. She's always watching me. And I was like, we're not ready. We're never ready. No one's ever ready. So if you slow down and you enjoy the moment and you look for the good, you'll be able to savor it just a little bit longer, right?
Yes, and that wraps up the final quote where you said before, life is happening to us.
Yeah.
So life versus, right? I think I screwed it
up.
Life is happening for us, not to us. The moment that we pause and slow down and reflect and connect, life is truly happening for us.
Always. Yeah.
Love our conversation. Great. Ashley, thank you for being on our show. If there's a way to connect with you, how do they connect with you?
Well, thank you, Allan, for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. You can connect with me on my website or any social medias. I'm on all of them, but my website is tapfitfam.com. So TAPFITFAM.com. And at the top, there's a connect button, so we can actually hop on a one-on-one call if anybody wants to talk more about any of the things we've talked about today. I'm really passionate about it. If you're a homeschool mom, or if you're an empty nest mom, I work with women of all levels of parenting, wherever they are. Even though I haven't been there yet, I have. It's just beautiful. And then if you need to move your body or anything like that, that's also all on my website. So other than that, all of the socials, all of them, I think, except, yeah, pretty much all of them, at TapFitFam.
Great. Love it. Okay. Until then, live purposely, love passionately, and be the most remarkable parent you're meant to be. We'll see you future episodes.